Welcome to Rise to Radiance. When you see a mushroom pop up out of the ground, you're really only seeing a tiny piece of a much, much bigger picture. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and explore the absolutely incredible and mostly hidden life cycle of a mushroom.
So let's just start with that, right? What even is a mushroom? Because I think for most of us, what we picture in our heads isn't the whole story. It's kind of like thinking an apple is the entire apple tree. It's just not.
Exactly. That mushroom you see, that's just the fruit body. Think of it as the grand finale, a temporary stage that has one single vital mission. The real organism, the main event, is living a secret life, completely hidden from view.
To really understand this hidden world, we have to start at the very, very beginning. And that beginning is almost impossibly small. It's a journey that kicks off with a single microscopic speck of dust. And that little speck is called a spore. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like a seed for a plant. It's this tiny, single-celled package that holds all the genetic blueprints to start a brand new fungus, but only if it lands in the perfect spot.
And here's the wild part. Mushrooms don't just release a few of these, they play a massive numbers game. A single mushroom can release billions of spores from its gills. It's this incredible strategy to just flood the environment, hoping the wind carries at least a few to a new home. But wait, it gets even more interesting. It's not enough for a spore to just find a good home. See, for most fungi, spores come in different mating types. You can just think of them as plus and minus. A single spore, all by itself, can never grow a mushroom. It has to, absolutely has to, find a compatible partner.
Okay, so what happens when one of these billions of spores gets lucky? It finds a nice, cozy spot. Well, that's when it starts to build the true body of the fungus, this huge underground network that does all the real work. So once a spore settles in where there's enough food and water, it germinates. It sends out this one single thread-like strand called a hypha. And this first little strand is what we call monokaryotic, mono meaning one. So every cell in this strand has just one lonely nucleus with its own set of genes. So now you have this lonely little hypha exploring through the soil or a log. Eventually, it bumps into another lonely hypha from a different but compatible spore. A plus meets a minus, and when they meet, they fuse together. And get this, they create a brand new type of hypha that is now dikaryotic. Di for two. Every single cell now has two different nuclei living side by side. And this is the most crucial part to understand. This new, supercharged network of dikaryotic hyphae, this is the mycelium. This is the actual organism, not the mushroom, but this web. This is the part that eats, grows, and spreads, breaking down whatever it's living in and absorbing all those nutrients.
I absolutely love this analogy, the internet of the forest floor. It's just perfect, because the scale we're talking about here is just staggering. A single mycelium network can stretch for acres. Literally acres. It's like this giant living web that's constantly sharing information and moving resources around, connecting the whole ecosystem. It's amazing.
Now, this mycelium can just hang out underground for weeks, months, sometimes even years, just growing and storing up energy. But eventually, when the conditions are just right, it gets a signal that says, okay, stop growing, it's time to reproduce. So what is that signal? What's the alarm clock that goes off and tells this massive, hidden network, all right, it's go time, let's make a mushroom and show ourselves to the world? Well, it's all about the environment. The mycelium is constantly sensing what's happening on the surface. Things like a sudden drop in temperature, a big jump in humidity after it rains, a little more fresh air, or even just a bit of light. All of these can be triggers. They tell the mycelium that, hey, conditions up there are perfect for a mushroom to survive and spread its spores. So as soon as it gets that signal, the mycelium kicks into high gear. All those little hyphae threads start to weave together into these dense little balls called hyphal knots. These knots then grow into what we call primordia, or pins, and they look exactly like what you'd imagine, teeny tiny, perfectly formed little baby mushrooms.
And from that tiny little pin, we finally get to the part of the story that everybody recognizes. This is the mushroom's spectacular but very temporary grand finale.
That little pin starts sucking up a ton of water and nutrients from the mycelium network, and it just inflates, sometimes overnight, into the mature fruit body, the mushroom. And it's really an engineering marvel, It's perfectly designed with a cap, a stem, and gills, all for one single purpose. And if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. The mushroom itself isn't built to last. Its whole job is to be a launch pad.
It's a biological machine designed for one thing and one thing only: to create and spread the next generation of spores to make sure that huge mycelium network below ground gets to live on.
Deep inside the gills, the real magic is happening. Remember those two separate nuclei that have been coexisting in every cell? Well, now's their moment. They finally fuse together into one. Then, that new combined nucleus immediately divides, creating 4 brand new genetically unique nuclei. And each one of those becomes the heart of a new spore, all ready to start this whole journey over again.
So, with its genetic mission complete and a fresh batch of spores ready to go, the fruit body gets ready for its final act, and our story comes full circle.
And there they go. The mature mushroom releases its spores by the billions. Once its job is done, the mushroom itself will decay, returning all of its nutrients back to the earth, which of course helps feed the very mycelium that created it in the first place. And all it takes is one of those billions of spores to land in just the right spot, and the entire incredible cycle starts all over again. Thanks for joining us on Rise to Radiance. If you found this helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. In our next episode, we'll be taking the next step and looking at spores versus mycelium versus fruit body, the 3 key stages, so you won't want to miss it.